90,000 lumens for 19 bucks. That's what the listing says. The emitter inside maxes around 700. Not exaggeration, invention. I'm counting down 5 flashlight brands to stop buying and 2 you can trust, judged on 4 numbers: lumens, candela, runtime, and waterproof rating. One respected name here still isn't worth it. A $35 light outperforms it. We start at number 5. The brand's already in your junk drawer. In the 5th place, drugstore battery aisle brands like Duracell and Energizer trade on name recognition over performance. They feel safe in that familiar cardboard packaging, but they belong in a kitchen drawer. Most of these rely on cheap plastic bodies and outdated AAA batteries. Look at Duracell's $79 2500 lumen model that requires 9 AA batteries to run. I can buy an aluminum enthusiast light for 30 bucks that completely outperforms it on a single rechargeable cell. These lights usually turn on, which is why they are lowest on our list, but you are paying a massive brand tax for obsolete tech. The value is garbage, but the next brand is worse because it lies directly about brightness. Number 4 covers those generic, slide-to-zoom tactical lights plastered all over online storefronts. They promise 90,000 lumens, but you'll actually find a cheap clone of an XML T6 emitter inside. Physics dictates a real T6 tops out around 700 lumens before frying, making that 90,000 claim complete fiction. Zooming the collar looks neat for 5 seconds, but it just focuses the beam into an ugly, harsh square with zero spill. I've tested plenty of these. The weak drivers and hollow bodies can't handle heat, so your high-mode thermal throttles or dies within minutes. You're just buying a physical gimmick wrapped in a lie. But if you think these nameless imports are bad, the next spot takes this exact same scam and builds a massive late-night TV empire around it. In 3rd place, we have those random all-caps Amazon Marketplace brands that sell pure fantasy instead of actual hardware. You know the ones, names like GTL or Everfire, whose listing titles look like someone mashed their keyboard. They proudly print claims of 90,000 to 1 million lumens directly onto cheap plastic tubes. I mean, a real Million-Lumen light would be a military-grade death ray requiring a car battery, but these plastic toys actually put out about 1,000 lumens before they overheat. They also bundle them with blue 9,900 milliamp-hour batteries, which is physically impossible when the actual lithium ceiling for a 18650 cell tops out near 3,500. There is no ANSI FL1 specification sheet here, just a cheap, rapidly failing driver. If you look closely, you will see the exact same generic housing recycled under 10 different nonsense brand names. They're selling you massive, fabricated numbers instead of real-world light. This is the exact pattern of deception dominating Amazon. But later on, I will show you 2 honest brands that actually print real numbers. First, it gets even worse when a legacy name tries to pull a fast one with pricing. In 2nd place, those late-night TV infomercial flashlights, like the Bell & Howell TacLight or the Atomic Beam. Now, to be fair, these will actually light up your driveway, and they use metal bodies instead of thin plastic. But don't buy the military-grade hype. If you tear one open, you will find the exact same cheap, rebranded internals as the $3 generic Zoomies we just laughed at. The company behind Atomic Beam flat-out refused to publish ANSI FL1 test results when researchers asked them to. Instead of real data, they sell you elite soldier theater and dramatic, patriotic music. I hate this because it's credibility laundering. They dress up a cheap Chinese import in a fancy commercial and charge you 30 or 40 bucks for a light that actually outputs maybe 600 lumens before it gets too hot. You are paying a 3 times markup purely for patriotic ad copy. But if you think overpaying for cheap imports is bad, wait until we look at a premium brand that actually builds tough gear, but overcharges you anyway. And finally, in 1st place, SureFire builds incredibly tough gear. If you are deploying to a war zone or kicking down doors, their legendary durability and honest, warm tints make sense. They do not lie about their performance. But for civilian everyday carry, buying one in 2026 makes zero economic sense. You are looking at spending $150 to $300 for a light that outputs a modest 600 to 1000 lumens. Their G2X runs about $150 for 600 lumens. That's 25 cents per lumen. Meanwhile, modern pocket lights will easily pump out 2000 lumens for $30, which is under 2 cents per lumen. Sure, the SureFire will survive being run over by an armored vehicle, but you are paying a massive name tax for durability you will never use. It is on our avoid list, not because it is a scam, but because the value case is broken for regular buyers. Fortunately, you do not have to choose between overpriced tactical gear and cheap internet junk, because two specific brands are currently dominating the market with honest specs and ridiculous value. In second place for the brands you can trust, Fenix behaves like a boring, predictable utility company. They do not do hype. They simply refuse to print fantasy numbers on the box. I respect that. Take their PD35V3 as the benchmark. It claims 1,700 lumens, and when you put it in an integrating sphere, it actually hits 1,700 lumens. It stays there because the aluminum body has enough mass to handle the heat. For around $100, you get IP68 waterproofing, solid aluminum housing, and a real high-quality 3,500 milliamp-hour 18650 cell right in the box. No lies, no mystery wrappers. It is the definition of a boring, dependable workhorse that will turn on every single time for the next 10 years. It lacks flashy gimmicks, yet it delivers exactly what the spec sheet promises. But if you want this level of honesty at a price point that makes premium legacy brands look downright silly, our final pick is the ultimate budget hero. And in first place for the brands you can trust, Sofirn completely breaks the high price myth. I bought my first Sofirn expecting another cheap plastic toy, but instead I got the ultimate value hero. The SC31 Pro typically runs between $27 and $35, yet it pumps out over 2,000 real, measured lumens. No inflated math, no marketing fairy tales, just actual blinding light from a solid SST40 emitter. You get built-in USB-C charging, meaning you do not have to carry a clunky external bay just to top off your cell. It runs on a standard, non-proprietary 18650 battery and carries a legitimate IPX8 waterproof rating. If you drop it in a deep puddle, it keeps running. Its cousin brand, Workhorse, offers similar ridiculous value, but Sofirn remains my top pick because their published specs actually hold up in an integrating sphere. This budget heavy hitter proves that once you learn to read honest ANSI specifications, the logo printed on the aluminum tube matters a lot less than the actual driver inside. You do not need to spend hundreds of dollars to get a dependable tool that works when you click the switch. Remember, this channel follows the specs, not the sponsors. Subscribe to get more honest gear testing without the marketing fluff. Across all these brands, one pattern stands out. Bad lights sell marketing fiction, while real ones just deliver physics. Stop falling for bloated numbers on cheap tubes and buy based on verified specs instead. Remember, this channel follows the specs, not the sponsors. Subscribe for more honest gear breakdowns.